This is the last of the three-part series, Tasting Johnnie Walker. We will introduce you to the historic and iconic red and black label. And we will finish off this three-part series with the smoky double black label.
Well, welcome to Noel's World of Whiskey. I said I was going to finish off the Johnnie Walker, we'll call it the trilogy now, because this is the third segment, because I did leave out the red label, the black label, and the double black label, and those are by far the biggest sellers. Well, actually, the red label and black label are the flagship of Johnnie Walker. Now, you know, my experience with Johnnie Walker was probably tainted because I drank maybe more of the red label than any other Johnnie Walker, and that's what shifted me to other blends like Dewar's and Ballantine, Chivas. Part of it was my own ignorance that red label is not really it's not a good whiskey to be drinking straight. It was intended to be used in cocktails, and you know, I had a red label on a plane when I was heading up to my mother's celebration of life, and I remember it was just a very long day, and we had all sorts of cancellations, and it was a bit of a nightmare. I think we were traveling at midnight or something, just, you know, planes delayed, etc., etc. And I thought, you know, I need a little shot of something just to relax, and let's just kind of, you know, let's enjoy the flight. And you know, I asked her for a Scotch like a dummy. I should have known what I was going to get. And of course, it's Johnnie Walker Red Label. Now, I could have asked for something like ginger ale and made a cocktail out of it, and it probably might not have been that bad. But, you know, I drank it straight. No ice, nothing, just straight. And it was as atrocious as it was when I was young. So, again, ignorance. The red label is by far the biggest selling whiskey in the world, Scotch whiskey in the world. There must be a reason for it. Well, it is used primarily, it's a dirt cheap Scotch, and it's used primarily as a cocktail. So, you know, wake up. After all these years, wake up. And so what I'm going to do, I am going to pour myself a red label, have a little sip of it, just like I did on the plane, and then we're going to actually make a little cocktail out of it. Why? Because it was designed that way. Okay, I also have, as you remember, the black label, which is a 12-year-old whiskey. And I have here, of course, the double black, which is a call it a peated whiskey, a peated version. Actually, it's a non-age statement, so it's not really the black. So now this has about 39 or 35. No, I think it's. I've gotten two different stories on how many distilleries, but Mark Littler says 30. Online, I noticed it said 35. So 35 distilleries go into this. By the way, this is a makeshift bottle. This, I think, I'm pretty sure it was a gold label. And I had a friend, a friend next door ended up pouring some of his red label. I was not going out and buying a bottle of red label. I would never drink it. I'd be giving it away. So he had one next door, which he does drink cocktails with. He doesn't drink it straight. So we poured a little in here, put a little red label across it. There, look at it. Pretty good, eh? Improvising. This is an actual from one of their flight packs there. That is their black label. Now, the original name. This goes back to the beginnings of Johnnie Walker. So this was when he actually registered the trademark, around 1877 or whatever. But it originally was from the father, Johnnie Walker, Old Kilmarnock, the town where Johnnie Walker started, and I believe Old Kilmarnock Highland whiskey. But anyways, it was eventually called Old, or actually the white label was Old Highland whiskey, and then the black, or the red label was, and I think they even had an age statement, 6 years or something, and it was very old, or special, no, pardon me, special old, and then the black label was a, and that was the label, and the black was, I think, very special, extra, no, it was extra old was the black label. So, we can say 1909, pardon me, they switched and just called this red label and just called this black label. Now, why are these labels at an angle? So the reason for it was Johnnie Walker figured that he could get more information if he had the label at an angle. I forget what, a 24-degree angle or whatever. He can get more information on that label. It makes sense. And also, you could see the label from a distance in a store. So it very clever. Some of his marketing ideas, but also square bottle. He could fit more bottles into a case if they were square than if they're round, and less breakage. So some very brilliant things. But Alexander Walker, he was actually the brains behind, and the sons, Alex Jr., the actual changing the label for the marketing. And Johnnie Walker's had a history of incredible marketing. That's how I look at it. It just brilliant marketing is what's gone on, because it has been, well, since the 1940s, it's been the #1 selling Scotch whiskey. And I swear it's the marketing. That's my opinion. It's a marketing. It's a marketing thing. With Diageo behind them today, well, even when they had DCL before it became morphed into Diageo, there was a lot of dollars pumped in to the marketing. So let's get started on this, and let's start with the red label. So I am going to indulge in the poison. I shouldn't really be saying poison, but for me, on that last flight I took there having a shot of this, it was brutal. But I'm going to do it again. I'm going to treat myself to a brutal drink. Johnnie Walker red label. I'm going to get a little nose. And the funny thing is, the nose is not that bad. 35 distilleries, don't smell 35 distilleries, but the nose is definitely, it's a little on the muted side, but there's something there. You're getting a little bit of the apples, we're getting a little bit of vanilla, maybe some pears. Very light on the spices, but there'll be a lot more descriptors if you look on the marketing and the advertising of red label. There'd be a lot more than what I've just said, but yeah, not a lot for me anyways. Whoever has written all those descriptors has one heck of a sensitive nose. So anyways, I think we'll get into the palate, and let's just see what I can do here sipping on this. See if there's any good stuff I can say about Johnnie Walker red label. So much. You know, I'm going to say something. I'm a little shocked. This wasn't as bad as it was in the plane. Maybe I took too big a gulp in the plane. I don't know, but it wasn't that bad. I think that's the first time in the history of having red label that actually it wasn't that bad. Very slight coating. I don't know if I could say it's muted, because I think I was a little more shocked that it wasn't that bad, but nothing really stood out. Not sweet, not sour, not just a little bit of a coating on the tongue. And I remember reading a description that one of our female reviewers made on a very familiar whiskey, saying, well, it tastes just like Scotch should taste. Maybe that's what I should say, I don't know. Let's try it again. Slosh. Alcoholic. I mean, a bit of a bite, whiskey bite. There is a slight bit of sweetness to it, some spice going on, but you do taste the alcohol, and it's only a 40. But not as bad as maybe because I'm just taking a little and swirling it around the mouth and that, and I've got a little bit more of an opportunity to. I don't think I've ever tested this before, so maybe that's a big difference right now. Might have even got a bit of cinnamon there, maybe a slight bit of even ginger, nutmeg, bit of coating on the mouth, and mouth's watering, so it's not a dry whiskey. I'm a little shocked. Tonight I can handle a red label. Let's try the finish. Well, I am getting some spice, but the alcohol is there, and a little bit of coating on the mouth. I'm going to say that Johnnie Walker's doing better. Red Label's doing better tonight than it's ever done, but it's still not a whiskey that I really would go after. I have too many other whiskeys that I'd rather sip than this Red Label. So there's a reason why this is done very well, and I think marketing is a huge part of it, but they still have to mix it and get it right. Regardless of the fact that it's dirt cheap whiskey for what you're getting, but not something that maybe I personally would go after. But there's a lot of people that buy this, and in other words, the majority of the whiskey that is sold in the Red Label is going to be probably a cocktail, and it's probably going to be in every part of the world, like 180 different countries in the world. So when you go in and ask for a Scotch in some remote place, they might have a Johnnie Walker Red Label. In fact, there's a good chance they'll have a Johnnie Walker Red Label. And it might make a great cocktail. And that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to make myself a cocktail. So I'm not going to add water. I'm going to add some ginger ale. Schweppes. So let's give it a little bit of Schweppes. And let's just see how it does with a bit of Schweppes in it. So one of the reasons, I've never done this before, by the way, you've never seen me pour a cocktail, but understanding that this was designed more as a, I'm certain that somebody from Johnnie Walker who is watching this is going to say, no, it can be drank straight. Well, I just did, it's great. I'm going to try it in a cocktail, And let's just see how it is in a cocktail. So much. Really muted. Really the Scotch, but damn it, it's a nice drink. By the way, on the finish, very short. Very short. Not a lot of finish to the Red Label, but it was okay. As a cocktail, this is something you could probably spend, well, if I'd been intelligent on that flight, this is what I would have done. I would have had no problem if I poured ginger ale into my Red Label. I would have enjoyed the drink. Foolish Noel. Okay? So anyways, that's Red Label. And that is the foundation for Johnnie Walker. I'm going to say something good here. Johnnie Walker Red Label has helped keep distilleries alive. There is more of this whiskey that goes into, more of this whiskey that is sold to keep distilleries alive, not just the Diageo distilleries. When you look at the history, and we'll go right back to the DCL days, Red Label was during the tough periods of time there, when you think of the whiskey lock and before the whiskey lock, you think of the ups and downs, the depression, during the First and the Second World War, the depression. This was still a pretty good selling whiskey, and it kept distilleries going because the majority of the whiskey from distilleries goes into blends. And it's these distilleries, and I'm not just going to say Johnnie Walker, but they are the biggest selling whiskey, Scotch whiskey. Now, the number 2 is Ballantine's, and we'll say the same thing about Ballantine's. It has helped keep these distilleries alive. And then, we can look at Dewar's, and some of the other blended whiskeys. I believe that this has a place, not just in history, but it has a place on the shelf. You won't see it on my shelf, but who am I? It's not necessary what I have on my shelf. This is going to be on a lot of people's shelf. So, Johnnie Walker Red Label, kudos to them. They've kept a lot of distilleries alive that might not have survived today. So we see all these new distilleries doing so well, but remember, there's a whiskey boom going on right now. It wasn't always whiskey booms. There's been some tough times in the industry, and Johnnie Walker has kept a lot of distilleries and a lot of people employed. And we're now going to move on to the iconic Black Label. So, we'll move this back here. And we now are going to get into something. I have not had Black Label, and they did not have this on the flight because I actually asked her, I said, you don't have any Black Label or anything better than Red Label? And she said, no, but I advise West Air to invest in Black Label because I think Black Label, 12-year-old Black Label, I got a feeling we're going to do a little better with this. Okay? Still 40 ABV. And I believe my understanding was, Mark Littler said 40 distilleries. I'm hearing, again, mixed, I've got some mixed information, 35. Well, let's go with somewhere over, 35 to 40 distilleries going to Black Label. 12 years old, okay? So, we'll give it a pour. These are cute little guys, and it's a good way to go. I bought a couple flights of these, and if you remember from the previous series I did, of course, we had the 5 whiskeys there. We did the black, double black. We didn't do the black and double black, but we had them. We showed them, and then we did, of course, the gold reserve, and then we did the 18-year-old. That's the platinum, and then we did the blue. The 18's here and the blue, and we missed the green. Here's our green. We did the green as well, and of course the XR21. I did not have the Ghost on the table. Part of it was I was not willing to buy the Ghost for $700 or whatever the hell it is. I forget. Anyways, let's 12 years. Black Label, 1909. It went from very old Highland whiskey to Johnnie Walker Black Label, which is, when you think of it, only helped sell the product. It's just so simple, Johnnie Walker Black Label. And of course the angled label, 24 degrees, and the square bottle. Easy to see, in a liquor store. Okay, the nose. Now we have nose, and I haven't done this in years. In fact, I have never done a review on Johnnie Walker Black Label, so I'm as excited about it as, well, probably a little more excited about than the red label, but so there is something here. I am getting, oh boy, besides just, the fruit, something hit me there. Something quite unique. What was it? Almost like something like guava. Yeah. There was a little bit of a tequila note there. I don't know where the heck I got that from, but I just got this blast of a tequila note. So we're getting lots of spices going on here. A lot of baking spices. And now the cinnamon, ginger. I've got ginger happening. And just a slight bit of fennel there. I've got the, I'm going to say nutmeg, and there's something slightly, just a wee bit of savory stuff going on. But with the fruit, it is a little mix here. I've got the fresh apples and pears and apricots, and I'm going to say even some raisins going on here. Raisins, maybe even a little bit of grape, more than raisins, a little bit of the grape stuff going on. A lot more nose here than in the red label. The red label is muted compared to this, so yeah. So that is definitely something to a positive note toward the black label, the 12-year-old black label. And now for the palate, Solange. Boy, the spices they're not sharp, but they're there. When I said the ginger, definitely ginger, a little bit of pepper, and definitely the your baking spices. Nice coating on the tongue here for a 40 ABV. Slight bit of tartness. Enjoyable, but just not long enough. I'm going to have a little second shot here for development, okay? Again, the word smooth has to come in because I know that's their focus. So if you're going to add spices, you're going to have a little bit of fruit going on, maybe mixed in with the floral notes there from the nose. You're going to have something with a little bit of a zest to it. Again, there's a lot of moisture on my tongue, so it's not a dry drink. It's a drink you can actually sip. You don't need to make this into a cocktail. So we got to look at the price of this. So this is half what this is worth, or we'll say it's maybe it's 2/3. Well, less than 2/3. It's less than 2/3 of what the grain label is. It's only a short, we'll say a short distance from the red label. It's I'm trying to think of the price of it right now. I'll post the price, but I know this is about. I'm going to say 3/4 the cost of a black label. You're better off if you're doing cocktails. Great, the red label's great for cocktails, but if you want a little sipper, the black label's great for sipping for the price. It might be the best priced 12-year-old out there. That it's a good little sipper. It's it's not sharp. It's not kicking me in the ass. So. It's not something I was really expecting. I haven't drank it in a long time. Forgot it's not that bad a drink, really, the black label. Okay, the finish. So we're getting a wee bit of the Jesus. I don't know if it's charred cask. And now it's tropical fruits. It's still a short finish. It's not a short like the red, but it's a short finish. Because it seems that now, as I'm just getting interested in it, it's gone. The black label's weakness might be that, is that, man, this is kind of interesting. Wow. And then, where did it go? And that could be it. And that's why I'm struggling a bit, because I'm grabbing things, and I'm about ready to grab some more stuff, and you kind of want to go back and see if you can get some more stuff, because it goes pretty quick. So not a long finish, though a good sipper. It could be one of those drinks where you sip it. You're not trying to analyze it. It's just, I could see it would go down very easy. The black label. It's a player. It's a Johnnie Walker player. To me, this is the flagship, though dollar-wise, this has made them a fortune, and it has basically, it's been the foundation for Johnnie Walker since the beginning. I think some might say both of them are, but this is the first age statement, is the black label, the 12 year. And, it's not a bad whiskey. We are going to move, as we're moving through here, we're going to see some changes going on. Obviously, price. We're creeping up in price. The interesting thing, this is just something to note about. If I hit the full-size bottles, the red label, it's about 1,000 plus grams, that bottle. These jump up in the 13 to 1,300 grams. This jumps up into the 1,400 grams. A lot of it is the thickness on the bottom of your bottle, the thickness of the glass. As they move up, Johnnie Walker makes their bottles heavier. I think if you move all the way up to the blue weighs twice as much as the red. It's almost twice as much as the red. There's that much glass in the bottom of it, eh? So it's interesting how they market it, very light, You're looking at just a basic bottle. You drop it, it's going to shatter. If you drop this the right way, if it landed just on the bottom, it might not break, It's literally, it's a heavy bottle, the blue label, and these guys are in between your black, your double black, your gold. I believe the green, the double black are the same weight. I'm not sure. I think the gold was supposed to be a pricier bottle than the green. The green has now surpassed the gold label for price, and it's now the 18-year-old here, the platinum, that is the pricier one. And what I think is, because this is the gold label, which I don't have here right now, is it was originally the 18, and they shifted that to the platinum, and the gold label just became something in between the green, and now it is actually below the green. The green's actually, next to the 18s. So it's interesting how they've shifted their positions. So again, you start at the red, you work your way through the black, double black. That's not an age statement. We haven't got into it yet. We'll check it out. We get to the green, where basically our first taste of 43 ABV. Remember, these are all 40s, and these also, if you go above the green, they're all 40s. So this is the only 43, and it's the only vatted single malt whiskey of the whole bunch here. Right from the red right up to the blue label. The green label is a 15-year-old, 4 distilleries. We've got Kalila, we've got Talisker, we have Craigenmore, and we have, what is the fourth one? Linkwood. So those are the 4 distilleries in the 15-year-old. Interesting thing, as I mentioned, the whiskey has repositioned itself above the gold label reserve now, and it's next to the Platinum 18 price-wise. It's $10 more than maybe the gold label is. So when you're going through the pricing on this stuff here, you're looking at, the red, it's 30-ish, I don't know, you go up around the 60-ish for the black, and then the double black, I think it's up in the 80s. And then, of course, the gold was in the 90s, and this is the 100-ish, 165 or somewhere around there, I think it's 60, 160, somewhere around for the 1,865. And then, of course, the blue is up to 3 1/4 or something like that. So the XR is all over the place there. It was used to be 220, 2 1/4. I got a hell of a deal on it. I paid, I think, 140, 150 or whatever for it, but it's up well above that now, so it's getting... It's not quite what the blue is, but of all these whiskeys here, the black label is by far, I think, where we start with the Johnnie Walker. Only disappointment it might be is that very short finish. That might be the frustration of the black. But I think it's time now to move on to the double black. Okay, so let's get into the double black here. Double black. This is going to be a new one. I have never had a double black, so we're experiencing a double black for the first time in the Johnnie Walker, and so I'm not sure exactly where it's going to sit. It's an on-age statement. It is priced above the there we are, priced above the black, so we will give it the nose. Whoa, lots of caramel, a little bit of smoke in the background. And there's almost a little smoke mixed with some floral stuff there. But yeah, even maple syrup mixed with some floral notes, but kind of light on the smoke. It's not a... Oh God, it's not a Lagavulin, it's not a Kalila, it's not a Talisker, that's for sure. It's not overly smoky or peaty. A little bit of a beach thing in the background there, maybe. Beach fire. But I was actually, like I say, the first thing that hit me was the caramel, the sweet notes. A wee bit maybe some dark fruits going on here. Like the black label there, some of the pudding, the Christmas puddings and that. Okay, let's get right into the palate here. Okay, Solange. Yeah, boy, nice spices. I keep getting the cinnamon. That's one thing I do get with Johnnie Walker, the cinnamon. And the same as the black label there. Smoke's in the background. Not so much like a Lagavulin, Isla smoke, or even a Talisker. It's or Kalila. I'm getting that coating again on my tongue with peat and that, but it's light, even lighter than a Benromac. So darn it, it's just my biggest criticism of Johnnie Walker is that darn finish. It just goes so fast, eh? Let's give it another. So spices, we're getting a little bit of nutmeg, very slight bit of coffee note there going on, but the Christmas pudding, Christmas spices, a little bit of licorice going on now. Yeah, actually quite a bit of licorice, salted licorice. And again, that's I think the smoke. So whatever distilleries we're using in that, whether it's it could be a Talus or Kalila and of course Lagavulin and boy, You know, when I'm doing a review and when I'm tasting, I don't take a big. It's not a big swig. I don't have a big mouthful. I'm a sipper. This is the biggest knock I'm going to have on Johnnie Walker. This is a tasty dram. It just doesn't last. And I'm just getting into it and I want to discover things and it's gone. And that might be the biggest frustration. It was the same with the black. I mean, I like the black label. And it's great if you're not doing what I'm doing, you're just sipping away and you're enjoying it, you can have another swig, you know. I mean, that's what you do. So here we go again. We'll try it one more time. Licorice. Sweet. It's a little sweeter licorice this time. Salted licorice, Dutch salted licorice. The cinnamon's still there, and it is balanced. There's no question about that. While it lasts, a nice coating on the tongue. It's not dry, and I was just wondering when we're going to get into the dryness there, but it's not dry. You know, you don't know what distilleries, but there's some definitely not overpowering the peat, the smoke. So there obviously is some, you know, strong presentation here. I mean, it could be Mortlach, it could be Cragganmore, you know. They have so many distilleries, you know, Cardew, you know. You've got Glenkinchie, and so on and so on. But it's a pleasant drink. The finish is incredibly short, like the black label. Double black, not over smoky. That's how I see it. I sort of, you know, what I've been reading on it, smoke. Not overly smoky, really. This is not it's not a powerful, you know, beach fire. It could be the 40 ABV. So, and we're talking about the green as the only one of these that's a 43. So all of these, and I'm going to go right through the whole series there. In my previous two reviews, my biggest complaint was the short finish on all of them. This has the longest finish, the green 15. And that might be why I say it's my favorite. And then I would probably go to the 21 before I'd go to the blue. You know, I think I did say something about the gold label might be good value for your money, but you know what? I'm going to say the black label's good value for your money. Good Lord. If I had a big mouthful, I'm going to have it obviously last longer. I don't do that. That's not my style. I'm not here to get drunk. I'm here to taste. And it is just too short. That's how I'm going to leave it. The good thing about Johnnie Walker is that it is a company that was absorbed by bigger companies. It joined DCL, and it had already bought numerous distilleries prior to its joining DCL, and that's back in the 20s, early 20s, 24, 25, somewhere around there. And then, of course, Diageo absorbed DCL. And so it's had a long history of infusion of marketing dollars, and it's had some pretty smart people at the, you know, that were involved, not just in the marketing, but it's had some good blenders. And I think that it's a big part of the success of the, you know, many distilleries would not have survived today if it wasn't for companies like Johnnie Walker, because the bulk of their whiskey goes into blends. And without the success of companies like Johnnie Walker, Ballantine's and Dewar's and Chivas and that, without them surviving today and needing, you know, these distilleries that were really struggling during the, you know, the turn of the century, tough times on distilleries. A lot of distilleries did not make it past that period. The First World War, the Depression, you know, into the into the 40s, the 50s, things started to build again, but then the whiskey lock in the 80s. It was these big companies like Diageo that had companies like Johnnie Walker, and we'll go back to DCL too, that helped keep these distilleries alive. So that's why I do these reviews. It's not that I have a whole cupboard full of Johnnie Walker and I'm a strong follower of the brand. It's that they belong in the industry because they have helped the Scotch industry. As much as you'll hear a lot of reviewers criticize Johnnie Walker, and we hear a lot of them criticize Diageo as well. And they have their reason, a lot of Scottish reviewers, and I'm certainly not going to get in any argument with them on why. But as far as the Scottish history, the culture, I like to present it all. The black side and maybe the more lily white side. But let's face it, it's a tough industry, and it's these companies that kind of kept these distilleries going. So, anyways, double black, it's a presentable whiskey. The black is a presentable whiskey. The red label, great for cocktails. And personally, my favorite, the green, for the price and the fact that it is a 4 single malt distilleries that are bottled together. And then, of course, I do prefer the XR21 over the blue label, and I'm going to leave it at that. So, we did the part 1 of Tasting Jar part 2, and this is the finish. It's been fun. I am going to finish off with something different here. I am going to finish off, first time I've done this, with a cocktail. So, I am going to ask you to drink wisely, drink intelligently, and do not drink and drive. So long.